Excellent, the stranger responds with a smile. Then he closes his eyes and breathes slowly for a few seconds. Suddenly, he opens his eyes and says, "We don't have much time." He begins quickly running while crouched along the edge of the walls, and Hama follows right behind him, although she is stealthily moving on all fours with much greater ease. Soon they reach a staircase with men at the bottom and throughout the room below. He looks back at Hama. She is right down there, but we have to secure her before we do any fighting, or we risk her getting hurt or killed. "Leave that to me," Hama insists. Then she points to her wolf-helm nose. "I know exactly where she is and who is guarding her." Surprisingly, she then points her finger in his face. "Just make sure you hold up your end of this fight." "Wait, what are you going to—" he begins. Then he suddenly freezes as he watches her stand and cut a backflip over the rail down to the first floor, landing directly on one of the guards' head. Immediately, she pounces off of his head onto the man who is holding Maira. Seeing Hama here in this abandoned warehouse in her feral wolf rig, Maira grows ecstatic and begins jerking and trying to scream through her gag. The mysterious man instantly jumps in to help out, running halfway down the stairs, then jumps over the edge. On his way down, he pulls out a short stick and pushes a button on it. Both ends of the stick shoot out, rapidly extending into a staff. As soon as his feet touch the floor, he dashes directly toward the closest group of men in front of him. He bashes the first man he reaches with a very heavy swing, then pops the other two men with a quick two-handed back and forth. Hama dashes through the opening he had just made, holding Maira in her arms, still tied up and watching as the fight plays out. Then she kicks off the ground and twirls, delivering a brutal spin kick, hitting all four of the men in front of her. Two of them go down, but the two on the outside of the group recover and go to retaliate. Just before they get their revenge, the man helping Hama intervenes and cracks one of their necks. The other man he hits in his spine. They both make pained noises and fall to the ground. As soon as they exit the warehouse with Maira, Hama shreds the ropes binding Maira and removes the gag from her mouth. "Thank you, Hama," she cries as tears flow from her eyes. Then she hugs her tightly and holds her, breathing deeply. "I got you, girl. It's okay," Hama assures her. Just then, Lizzie and the rest of the group arrive. "Hama!" Lizzie shouts out, vaulting down from a low rooftop. "Lizzie!" she exclaims in response. "Chadri, Kip," she shouts loudly with a big smile, obviously relieved to see them roll up. But as she sees Matic galloping up in the borrowed Sagittarius, she says, "Matic?" After which, she shakes her head, avoiding the obvious discussion, and says, "Guys, I'm so glad you're all okay." She runs and hugs them with tears running down her face. "What's wrong?" they all ask. "What's the matter? What happened?" Lizzie implores her. She dries her eyes and assures them all, "It's nothing." Afterwards, she looks at them and lightly laughs. "Nothing happened, but I was afraid something might have happened to you." "Well, nothing happened thanks to you," Matic assures her. "No, guys," she rebuts, looking over toward the stranger, who Chad and Kip are eyeing angrily. "Thanks to him," she insists. "What?" Chad asks with a confused expression. "Who is this?" Lizzie demands. "He is the man who helped me. Helped us. All of us," Hama explains. "First, he gave me a vision about you guys being in danger. It was awful." For a second, a pained expression covers her face. However, she pushes past it and adds, "That's when I warned you to leave, and after that, he helped me rescue Maira." "But why?" Matic inquires, not fully convinced he is being honest. "Of course, we're all very grateful to you for helping us, but—" "That's enough questions, everyone," he barks. "That's who I am and what I've done. We can discuss this in greater depth at a later time, once we have reached a relatively safer location." On this note, he firmly states, "As of right now, We have just successfully escaped several assassination squads and retrieved this young lady from her captors. As it currently stands, we are in the crosshairs of some very evil, very dangerous people, and I insist that we make haste in removing ourselves from this precarious position." Finally, he eyes them sternly and snaps, "Bottom line, if you want to live, come with me." He leads them to a safe house where they wait for transport to a base belonging to his organization. Upon arrival, the man begins giving more detailed explanations to the teens as promised. "So, you all are a very interesting lot," the man begins. "You each have a unique and rather intriguing aura. I will ask a few simple questions, and you should think a bit before you answer them. Firstly, you," he says, looking at Matic. "Have you ever felt like you just knew what people were thinking? Or experienced something like deja vu, but knew it was from a past dream?" After this, he looks at Hama and asks, "Have you ever felt like you have some sort of monster hidden deep within you? Do you often have strong urges to do things that are more beastly in nature than human?" Next, he turns and broadly addresses the whole group. "Have any of you ever experienced night terrors, lucid dreams, or unexplainable feelings of living another life?" Following these questions, the man slowly eyes each one of them and says, "Such phenomena are absolutely attributed to having a special gift. This gift is actually knowledge and skills passed down from generations long dead now. People who experience such things do so because they have, in their genetic coding, hereditary arcane knowledge. This knowledge, without proper study and training, produces mere shadows of potential capabilities. They may have a particular affinity towards the healing arts, or the dark arts." Then he looks away and continues, "Empaths feel the emotions and fears of others, but usually lack the ability to intentionally sway the emotions of those around them. With training, they could learn to bolster their allies with courage and confidence in the darkest of moments. They may also choose to fill the minds of their foes with fear or doubt, forcing them to freeze or slow down." He again turns to address them directly. "There are also the loners who spend much of their time in their heads. Nowadays, these gifted ones usually live a great deal of their lives with these earbuds in, thinking of various scenarios. Some entertain dark or macabre fantasies, while others play out bright, light-hearted happenings. These two may have coding geared towards incredibly powerful spellcasting abilities. The dark and light literally transpose into affinities for either necromancy or wizardry. This lot, with time and effort, can literally bring down terrible forces of nature, such as lightning, flames, and wind. Alternatively, they may end up raising the dead, using corpses to do their bidding, or afflict their enemies with any number of terrible diseases." Finally, he concludes his monologue. "Mages and warlocks are in the same boat, but they both have strong ties to something dear, a pet or a partner. Their desire to avoid going it alone is built into their makeup." Finished with his speech, the mysterious man sits on the table at the front of the room, and, crossing his legs, he calmly states, "You lot are a very interesting lot. You each have a unique and rather intriguing aura. Now, you all have a bit more understanding as to why."